Is this masculinity? Is this masculinity? Is this masculinity? It seems in more recent times, this generation has struggled to define what masculinity is. There has been a separation and divide in opinions in a generation where young men are forced to choose between black pill, red pill, blue pill, left wing, right wing. But in all these other philosophies and mindsets and politics and whatever it is, there's an active war against our generation, your generation, and younger, that we have been swept up into to truly define this word in a new era, and the battle against the true definition of this word. The question is, how do you define masculinity in our modern era? Leave a comment, let me know. In a time when we don't see the code of honor or chivalry that warriors once had, they often ask, where's the proper gentlemanhood that existed once in the 1900s that men once had? What about now? To define positive masculinity, we must first be able to identify it and model ourselves in such a way. This is identifying it. What positive masculinity is not tough guy syndrome. Let's talk about it. I was reading the Vagabond manga inspired by Miyamoto Musashi's life, true historical figure, samurai, and he said something that hit me. And it was something along the lines of, only truly kind people are strong. Yet having the need to be loud, having the need to be flashy, yelling, flexing, as it might appear as strength surface level, it is a major sign of weakness to those who know. I'm sure we've all heard the dog who barks the loudest is usually the smallest. The person who's the loudest in the room is usually the weakest. You can identify this by often self-proclaimed titles of greatness or tough guy attitudes, but never the people's choice, never the people's champion. Relies heavily on acquiring material things, on being flashy and loud with it. Now, don't get me wrong though, showing off isn't bad in my opinion. It becomes a problem when you try to convince or make people believe in something that you yourself don't truly deep down believe in. And one should think about this, what I just said, deeply. Another archetype of what positive masculinity is not is the nice guy, having nice guy syndrome. Nice guys are more dangerous than the fake tough guy, believe it or not. Oftentimes, in the opportunity in which they achieve power, they tend to abuse it. In the opportunity in which they have power in which they can use against you, they will absolutely take that opportunity. They like to advertise the fact that they are harmless so that they can get accepted by society when they're treated like a doormat, and they allow it. But they hold secret resentment for the very thing that they advertise, because they have become an enemy to themselves and a friend of the world, when in reality you should be a friend to yourself first, and if it comes down to it, an enemy to the world. A lot of rage red pillars, although I do like some things of that philosophy, a lot of the more extreme ones were nice guys at some point, then sought to acquire power, but for dark reasons, for lustful desires, for maybe getting revenge and all these things. Sometimes these guys couldn't even be Chad, the nice guy, the type of guy that will be your friend to your face, but then when you're not around, try to get with your girl, try to dirty Mac. The guy that will compliment you, treat you nice, just so that he can get information out of you and then use it against you later on. A double agent. Another example of what positive masculinity is not is a quitter, the one whose confidence is so low that they have nothing in life to look forward to, and they have no instinct, no reason, no desire to try anything. They have given up on themselves and on life. At this point, they're empty souls, moving as a cog in the machine of the rat race. They also tend to self-select themselves, self-sabotage, and give up even when the odds are in their favor. The type of guy that fears rejection. So when an opportunity is in his favor, he rejects himself and then blames it on external factors. The guy that says, I'm not tall enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't make enough money, I don't do this, so I can't be something in my life. I have a big forehead, so I can't be attractive. I don't have good genetics, so I can't go to the gym. Let's talk about the traits and what positive masculinity is. The meat and potatoes of the video. Honor in everything that you do, which falls under self-respect, self-confidence. You must have confidence in everything that you do. I seen a video of a guy that approaches people and he asks like, oh, hey, you're a videographer, right? Yeah, so something like that. No, bro, don't undermine what you do. Have confidence in what you do. Small right now, but you could be honest about it, but don't undermine your work if it's something that you truly love. Another one is emotional intelligence, not only within himself, but with people around him. How to maneuver. One who does not explode or suppress his emotions, but knows how to channel them through the proper avenues. Leadership, setting the standard for the ones that are watching you and looking up to you. Self-reliance, but also have the ability to depend on someone else and stand as an equal. Everyone depends on you all the time. You'll be burnt out, spread too thin. You cannot depend on other people or someone else all the time, because then you'll be a loser. And you can't be someone's equal all the time, aka independent, because the reality of life is that we will always need to depend on someone, and people will will always need to depend on us. You need a healthy ego and healthy humility. We don't need a false humility, and we don't need an inflated ego. But of course, one cannot exist without the other. As I mentioned in my other video, killing the ego and making it disappear has become what is popular. But I personally see nothing wrong with being the best, wanting to be the best, and knowing and acting like you are the best. But also understanding that what comes with that doesn't mean you gotta display it out to the world constantly all the time. You just embody what that word means without having to be loud and flashy with it, without having to make a show or display of it. A protector, but also someone that allows his people to face their own challenges. Self-awareness to your strength and your weaknesses, to your shortcomings, and an active effort to improve yourself and also the ones that you lead and their strengths and weaknesses. It's not easy because, like with anything worth having requires balance, requires work, and us as humans, we're not perfect, so we might find situations where we are too aggressive or where we are too passive, but we learn to adjust and be better every day, because it's like how I always say, the modern samurai philosophy. Although we may never reach perfection, we can always strive to get closer little by little. There are 4 personal examples that I like to list of positive masculinity if you do not yet know. Number 1, just want to go out straight out, say it, Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm not wrong. A former powerful general who was actually in line to become king of the Fire Nation and gives it up and transforms into the wise, powerful master he was, proving that masculinity isn't just about power, but kindness, guidance, and self-awareness. Thorfinn from Vinland Saga, and even Thor's from Vinland Saga, his father. We wonder why he's so popular. He starts on a path of vengeance, but once his opportunity to get revenge is taken away from him, he's lost, without any purpose in life, realizing what has he earned from all the acts of violence that he has committed during war. And little by little, as he decides to become a different man, he realizes that on the journey to becoming a strong man, a strong individual, it's not about overcoming and killing and dominating many opponents. It's being strong enough to protect what's yours and what you love, showing the evolution of masculinity from toxic to positive. David Goggins, the embodiment of grit and resilience, transforming his hopeless situation into fuel to become a bad dude, in a good way, not like a bad dude, but you know what I mean. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman king philosopher, teaching men how to be strong, yet virtuous and level-headed. He originally didn't want the title of king. He just wanted to be a philosopher, but he was called to a position of leadership in which he led very well. At one point, I think he gave away all the riches in his palace, all the gold, all the money, just to help the Roman economy, basically carrying Rome on his back before its downfall. Now, there's concluding points that I want to make, specifically about the red pill mindset, the red pill community. I understand that red pill in general is a good thing, but not to when it goes into its extreme, right? It talks about mindset, self-improvement, discipline, male struggle, but there tends to be a very transactional approach to interpersonal relationships. It tends to be an obsession of power and dominance, and it gets toxic. I'm not gonna lie, it just gets toxic. It does have some things that you can take and use for your own, but I wouldn't embody it fully, right? And also, it's like it tends to put a number to something that cannot be calculated. You can't put a number on love. Real masculinity, but you don't have to try to prove that you are. Don't try to teach your philosophy, embody it. And so you just are, in the positive way, in the right way, in a balanced way. And then the concluding point is, I want to talk about a true warrior's path. Because this is what we are, right? You're watching this video, you're a warrior, or at least on the path of becoming one. Strength without wisdom leads to destruction, but wisdom without strength leads to weakness. Positive masculinity, doing it the right way, is not outcome based. It's not what material things I can get that are so flashy, how many girls I can be with, how many people I can overcome in battle. It should be about self-mastery, and everything else will come on its own. A man who leads by example, protects and inspires is the ultimate version of masculinity. And that's pretty much it, man. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Support your brother. If you mess with the video and you have an opinion on it, let me know in the comments. But that's pretty much it, man. Mad love. Peace.